Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Please subscribe to this channel, share, like, as well as drop a comment on the comment section. Our lecture today is titled Territorial Conquest and Colonialism, as stages in the development of imperialism. Now, now, it is a truism that after the Industrial Revolution, there was the dilemma of underconsumption and overproduction in Europe. This Industrial Revolution, the Industrial Revolution has spread to other parts, of Europe from its epicenter in Lancashire, Britain. And that was what led, you know, that was what actually led, to the scramble, for Africa. Now, after the Berlin Conference in 1884 stroke 1885, the various European countries sought to consolidate their hegemony on their colonies, and so they decided to embark on the conquest of the colonies because ordinarily the colonial people wouldn't have surrendered their sovereignty, to the foreigners just like that. Now, let us look at territorial and and colonial conquest, like territorial conquest and colonialism, and its impact on colonialism. Territorial conquest and colonialism and its impact on imperialism. Now, colonialism does not represent Africa's first encounter with the Europeans. It merely consummated the relationship and made it overtly political. Now, before colonialism, what Africa experienced was a form of imperialism, a purely economic relations, which includes exploitation and inequality, but exclude domination. Now, this is why Smith 2003 page 23 sees imperialism as a mere economic concept, while colonialism as a social and political concept. But this conception was not meant to deny the inherent economic impetus behind colonialism, but merely an attempt to subsume it within the social forces and political arrangements that helps in sustaining colonial rule. There were many reasons for the territorial conquest and colonialism in the development of imperialism. They include economic, political, and religious motives. Probably the most important was economic, as a depression, okay, as depression was occurring in Europe. Countries like Great Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, and other powers were losing money, and Africa appeared to be a way out of the looming problem of overproduction and underconsumption. To make money out of Africa, Europeans used Africa's many raw materials. Okay, now they hoarded oil, ivory, rubber, palm oil, wood, cotton, and gum. Okay, because of cheap African labor, these raw materials were easily acquired. These materials couldn't possibly spark a financial boom in Europe. Okay, now the Industrial Revolution was also making progress, making goods of utmost importance. Now, new African markets set up by the Europeans could also produce more commerce. Another reason for the territorial conquest and colonialism was the rivalries between countries. Britain and France had hated each other for centuries due to infamous Hundred Years' Wars 100 years war, and they both wanted to outdo each other in Africa. However, the race for power was not limited to Britain and France, because even Germany, Italy, and Spain, indulged. Okay, even if I said even Germany, Italy, and Spain, including Portugal, wanted to benefit as well. Nationalism was quite popular in many Western Europe. Now, another reason was the fact that African traditional societies did not accept in totality the exploitation, subjugation, domination, manipulation, and and the control of their kingdoms by the colonial masters. As such, they revolted against the whites. And of course, a good example is King Jaja of Okpobo, who was banished for not supporting and accepting the superiority of the Europeans. Hence, the territorial conquest and colonialism. Now, the last point here is the implementation of the policy of 3 C's. Those were commerce, that is to make money; Christianity, to save the hidden from Africa, to save the hidden Africans; and of course, civilization, to make civilized, the uncivilized people. Now, many native religions were severely impacted on or wiped out, like the Igbo and the Swahili religions. Okay? Now, in conclusion, in summary, therefore, 3 major motives were actually adduced for territorial conquest and colonialism, and they include economy, political, and religious proselytism. These motives of the colonialism was to open to the civilization, and the only part of the globe where it has yet to penetrate is actually Africa. What I've said so far is that territorial conquest and colonialism actually impinged or impact a great deal on imperialism. Now, the reason for this is because, of course, when the Industrial Revolution actually created a problem of overproduction and underconsumption, this problem became very, very gigantic in the European society. And then they started panicking on how to actually solve this problem. I told you that this problem actually brought about 3 major challenges or questions. The question of who to consume this thing. Because, of course, the rich people, I'm talking about the bourgeoisie class, or the bourgeois class, will not actually want to consume these things that were produced. Now, the workers, on the other hand, could not also mop up all these goods and services that were produced. And so, even this bourgeois class cannot actually approach the government to give them loan, to ensure that they will, they are in production. And so, they needed they needed an external market. And this external market that they need is actually, in Africa. And so when they were coming to Africa, they came with the policy of 3 C's. The first C is actually commerce. That is to come and make more money, to make profit, to buy goods, of course, buy raw materials and turn them into finished goods, and of course, sell to the African people. Okay, that is commerce. The second C is Christianity. Now, they came with Christianity. Of course, it was it was one African scholar that said that when the white people actually came, they came with Bible, okay, and told the people to actually, they gave Africans the Bible and told them to close their eyes and pray. When the African man were busy praying, reading the Bible and closing their eyes, when they opened their eyes, they found out that the white people actually had the land to themselves. Okay, so that is exactly what happened. The Christianity they brought is to also soften the minds of the Africans, so that their economic interest that they came to actually pursue in Africa will be thoroughly achieved. Now, the third C is civilization mission. That is to come and civilize the African people. But did they really civilize the African people? These are questions, that actually bog the minds of scholars. Thank you very much.